Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Today is January 21st. This is our weekly NuPath Live event. And I want to just say that today is going to be a little bit more informal. I've got a couple of things I want to tell you about, share about, kind of letting you in a little bit into my headspace. Plus, it helps me think when I talk. Um, and then we're going to bring Dan Lannon on, keeping in mind, of course, that we're committed to keeping these to be no longer than 30 minutes. And I think we can do that if we're disciplined. So welcome. Is this your first time at NuPath Live? This is a commitment that we've made to all of our staff and the people we support and our families and our service coordinators and DDS and anybody who's interested in what's going on with NuPath. And they're a little raw. They're a little unproduced, or we don't have teams like helping us prepare content. So I don't know what you see is what you get, and it's what's happening at the moment. So I'm going to tell you a story about this past weekend. Um, Saturday, um, I my husband and I have a house out in Northampton. Most of you probably know that I drive out there every weekend. I know it's crazy, it's ridiculous, but we have got these two little girls. They're twins that are now 8 years old, and we're their godfathers for these two little girls. They're sweetest, Sydney and Sadie. And so it was their eighth birthday, and we had gotten an invitation saying that there was going to be a drive-by parade between 1 and 3, and it sounded like we were supposed to decorate our cars. And these girls love unicorns, and so I had the idea that maybe I should try to decorate John's car, which was white, like a unicorn. And so we did it. We had to park down the street and tape everything on, and 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 then we drove down with the unicorn song playing. The Irish Rovers, I think, sing it. It's a really cute song. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. And do we have that picture to show people? The masterwork. Now that is a Pinterest moment, ladies and gentlemen. You see there's a horn there, and the flowers and the eyes, and a big sign and everything. Now I had said to John, it says it's a drive-by, so we don't have to get out of the car. I had their presents on the back side of the driver's near the door that they could, maybe John would get out and just hand them over. But it sounded like it was supposed to be truly a drive-by. So John says, "Yeah, I don't know. It should be." I said, "Well, I might be pissed if all of a sudden we looks like we were supposed to start going in and so." Of course, the end of the story is that's exactly what happened. We kind of ended up. I had to get out of the car because I was feeling like a like something's wrong with me. That I was just sitting in the car, like I was antisocial. Hello, it's a pandemic. We're in the middle of a huge surge. 400,000 people are dead in the United States. Um, but when you're the person that's in a crowd of people that you are trying to be committed to your social distancing, and you're trying to abide by the guidance that is the way to keep yourself safe, this thing is so damn um, um, it is so pervasive that even when you're doing all the things you need to do, you can still get it. Well, sure enough, we're standing outside. The next thing you know, oh, you should come over and have something to eat. I'm like, oh, is there something about the number of people? Won't you get fined? Oh, that's only on the inside. You're only supposed to have 10 on the inside. You can have 20 on the outside. And it was kind of cold. It was getting kind of cold in the afternoon. She goes, oh, don't worry. We've got the garage. We're going to keep the doors open. We're going to have the heat going. And I stood there watching as people filed into the garage. And then a second later, into the house they went. We didn't. We had a few words back and forth. And I felt like a stick in the mud. I felt like I was the biggest, like, antisocial person that didn't want to, see these, have fun with their goddaughters, and didn't want to catch up with, our cousins and people that we hadn't seen for so long. Even knowing everything that I know, even coming and doing these broadcasts virtually every week for you guys, talking to you again and again. Wear your mask, socially distance, don't go anywhere on Christmas, stay home. It's just until this is behind. I still felt like something was wrong with me. And so I know why it's tricky. I know why it's hard. This has got so many nuanced perspectives as we try to keep ourselves distance. We know more and more people that are getting sick, know more and more people that are dying. We know more and more people that are the, they're getting COVID and then they don't even know they have it. There is just such a patchwork of inconsistency and confusion when it comes to how this virus manifests that never mind the fatigue we feel and we're just sick and tired of dealing with all of this crap. And Dan was saying earlier, we'll talk to him in a minute, but he was saying earlier about how we found out, I even forget which one of the houses this tested positive again. They have to quarantine again. They have to go through all of that again. And it's really taxing on the human spirit. So I get it, guys. And I know that this is not a time of superb joy when you think about what's going on with COVID. But we are looking at, I hope, the beginning of the end. Now, before we bring Dan on, I just wanted to make one other observation. So many of you, I hope you had a chance to check out some of the festivities down in D.C., the inauguration in the afternoon, and then there was a concert last night. But I was listening to it, and I was struck by a couple of things. Biden used the word democracy 11 times during his speech. And that's the most that word democracy has been used in any inaugural address since 1949. Harry Truman said it 9 times. And before that, it was FDR who said it 9 times in 1941. That was his third swearing in. But here's the thing that really caught my attention. Unity. Have you heard anybody talking more about unity the way we've heard it with all the craziness that's been happening, and the partisan strife, and people say that Biden's, the guy that maybe can heal this country, but the word unity was used again and again and again. If only we're united, if we maintain our unity, we can get through this. If we maintain it. And I said, well, hello. We've been knowing that for a long time at NuPath. In fact, maybe they stole it from us, I'm thinking. Community unity. Unity is the second of our core values, the second of the word cubics that we use to remember it by. And we've been, since almost the very first week that we found out we were going to be locked down, we wanted to stay united, and that's why we've been using these virtual experiences to stay connected. I was on my way in this afternoon from something else, and I ran into Steve Selesky and John Lannon and a couple of guys I don't see, hardly at all anymore, especially since, everything's been locked down and crazy and everything. And it was so nice just to say hi to them. And they were like, oh, we'll see you at 3:00. So I guess I knew they were going to see it. So hi to them and everybody else who's watching. And so we're going to continue to do these things because I do believe it helps us stay united. And for people, it's like anything in life. You get in what you get out what you put in. I know not everybody watches this, but 232 people watched last week's on our YouTube channel, and that's 232 people that wouldn't have heard what we were saying if they hadn't. So thanks to all of you who've made it a regular part of your practice. I wish I could see you. You can see me, so at least I'm still out here. I always treasure it when I have a chance to see you guys, because that's what feeds my soul. And I tell you what, this thing cannot come to an end fast enough for me. I think some people have enjoyed staying home, and some people enjoy the virtual experience. Not me. I got to look at people's eyes. I got to see your faces when I'm talking. I got to know that that you get it. You're with me. You understand. It's just, and I feel that I just feel like this hollow shell, but I don't have that kind of, the energy, the transfer of energy that happens when two people are in sync and on the same page about something. So anyway, let's keep an eye on the time. Let's ask Dan Lannon to join us. I'm asked Dan to come and talk to us a little bit about how we are doing in preparing for the vaccine. Now, hey, Daniel.
Hey, Dan. How you doing today?
Good to see you. It seems like it's been a couple of weeks since we've had you on, and you're You're the guy that knows things that's really happening out there, boots on the ground. So that's what we hope you came knowing things. Otherwise, it will be a waste of our time.
Yeah, I found out yesterday that I was on a suspension from being on these, so I didn't know that. But I
You
guess
were?
I guess my suspension has been lifted.
Why were you suspended?
Oh, I don't know. I heard you were the person that had suspended me from the Unity forums.
Oh, that's convenient. Yeah, no, I don't think that's true. But if you want me to, I can think of a reason. If you're looking
No.
for me to, we're wasting time here. So we were talking about the vaccine, and why is it even important? So tomorrow we've got vaccines happening at Is it Johnson Street, Dan? Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we got about 20 some odd people, staff and clients. Then the week after, the Friday after, which is 2 weeks or a week from tomorrow, actually, yeah, will be a big clinic here at New Boston Street,
Yep.
and that's where we're hoping to get the rest of our clients and staff vaccinated. Correct?
Correct.
Dan?
Yeah. That's really the big one where we have we'll have Walgreens for the day, and they're sending a team of people, and we hope to get everyone vaccinated on that day. Well, we will get everyone vaccinated on that day who wants a vaccination. So we're just continuing to try to, encourage people to do their research, and when contacted from HR or from the director to sign up.
So we know what do we know? We know that some people like me, I would crawl up the side of a wall of a building to get this vaccine. When it was my turn, and I was told that it was appropriate to do so. Most people that I know and respect would say the same thing. Elected officials, doctors, people with CDC, people, we're getting this vaccine. Now, I know there's differences of opinion. That's what makes, our world an interesting place to be. Um, but I think what we're decided, Dan, right? We can't control. I'd like very much to have everybody vaccinated that's connected with NuPath. I don't know right now what the consequences are going to be for staff that refuse or pass it by. Um, because there may be, some situation down the road where only people that have been vaccinated will be able to, be in a certain location or a certain environment. And for those of you who think you don't need it because you had COVID, we know from watching that video last week, was it, Dan? Did we watch that here? I can't
Yep.
remember which show here. We know that's not, you need the vaccine. If you've had COVID before, it doesn't matter. You still need the vaccine. So the people that are refusing it out there, I have this instinct to run after them and be like, "Are you crazy? What are you thinking?" But you and I have agreed, Dan, that there's no point in doing that because people, especially people think they're being told they have to do something. We as Americans rebel against that. It almost makes us. I mean, I'm that way.
Right.
John tells me I got to do something. I make a point of never doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to figure out our strategy here because, and I'm going to say all this and then I'm going to let you tell me your thoughts and like where we are from that perspective. We're not going to be able to get NuPath back on solid feet. Like if we really want to get back to the point where we're able to, not worry about paying our bills, where we're able to think about doing some of the extra things, staff raises, all of that stuff. That will never happen until we're back to a much fuller billing roster. I mean, right now there's just we have too many people that aren't coming that should be here, and until people get vaccinated, we're not going to be able to even think about approaching those former numbers. I mean, we're trying lots of other things. We're hoping that, the stimulus package will, even though the PPP is not, we're not eligible for that in this round, and we don't know if there may be a larger one coming out or if it may not even, even have some of the same things. But I was just hoping that we'd have most of our staff agree to be vaccinated, even if they were a little hesitant about it, And the way I look at it is, yeah, it's true. You don't know what side effects there may be from this because it hasn't had a chance to do the long-term side effects. But I would be more worried about the long-term side effects of getting COVID, and the side effects of COVID than getting the vaccine. But people's thought processes are a little different. So Dan, tell us why or what you think about that, and then kind of where we are. And we've got about 15 minutes left to give people an update. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I said that the vaccine's not happening in New Boston Street. It's happening in the Martin Center. Yeah, right. Thank you for the correction, Greg. So, Dan, what are you, first of all, how are you
Well,
thinking about our response, our preparedness, and what do you think about it?
well, first off, I think that the HR team and Sharon and the nursing team and everyone that has been sort of on those calls that we've been having for the planning of Walgreens coming both out to Johnson Street tomorrow and to the Martin Center next week. I think those guys have done a great job. Ann Burkett has really helped to pull things together with that and coordinate the numbers for us. And we are having, responses come in regularly, and people have been receptive to getting the vaccine. And like you said, like those people that have chosen not to do it at this time, or you know, uh, maybe have some concerns about it, I just encouraging them to do their own research. And I think I say do their own research is because we were talking earlier, what we will still be what rules we will still have to follow once everyone gets the vaccine here. So even though you might have been administered your first dose of the vaccine or even your second dose of the vaccine, if you come in close contact with someone who is tested positive for COVID, you are still going to have to follow through with some type of quarantine period. And so even the Board of Health right now, if someone has had COVID, as soon as it gets to that 90 days, that person then has to start the quarantine process again, and they're considering possible of getting it. And so I just think that sometimes people, like you said, I myself, everyone that knows me, I've never been a huge vaccine person. Vaccinations for my kids was something I struggled with for a while. And I just think, in this case, that long-term information from getting the vaccine, I don't have. I would love to have that data. I don't have that data, but I also don't truly know, and none of us really know the real data of the long-term effects of having COVID. And
Mhm.
so then I'm just weighing the risks of what I think, what is in the best interest of myself and my family and the loved ones around me. And I think me having the vaccination is in the best interest for my health as well as their health. And so that's sort of my rationale that I used. I've talked with that group several times. You and I have talked. We can't force you to get the vaccination. We can't.
Yet.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say yet. You said yet.
I did say yet. I said it loudly too, so
Yes.
they wouldn't not hear.
But honestly, it's just we want people to do what they feel comfortable with. But we think it's in your best interest, in NuPath's best interest, and most importantly, the individuals we serve's best interest. If everyone gets the vaccination sooner than later, so we can try to get back to some semblance of normalcy. Earlier today and yesterday and
Wait, can
uh,
I just maybe in a way, it's like I know everybody's got to make their own decisions about this, but it's like how we all are going to do our own part in like putting NuPath back together again and helping us move beyond this, because if we have continued to have big samples of people that have not been vaccinated, it's just it's we're not going to be able to turn the page on this thing, are we?
Right. Right. And that's the thing is, I know that earlier today in Baker's press conference and Biden spoke to a little bit yesterday, but really everybody has spoken to it. It's not going to be just flip the switch and we're going to be back to normal, right?
No.
But we do have some data that shows that people's mental health status and people's frame of mind and everything has been truly affected by this quarantine period. So if you're someone who likes the isolation and likes the new, I guess, norm, we'll call it for now. Well, that's fantastic, and we'll find a way, or hopefully they'll find a way to incorporate that in their life as we go forward. But as we need to get back to normal, our individuals need to get back to normal. The individuals we serve need to get back to normal, and that's who we're making decisions on. I'm not making some of these decisions, or when we talk to try to make a decision, or when we're with the group, we're making decisions based on the day services that we run and the residential programs that we run and what is in the best interest of them. And and trying to keep the everyone healthy there is in our best interest. I don't know if, some people who might be saying, that they don't want to get it at this time, they don't understand, or maybe they're not seeing, or maybe we haven't informed just how difficult it is to see a residential house, go through quarantine 3, 4, 5 times because
Yeah,
somebody comes back positive, and then the whole house has to go, on quarantine. It is it's like chasing a carrot and never getting to that carrot. It's so difficult to see, and to see people go through and to work through. And the residential team and staff and Doreen and Michelle and everyone has been great with that. But it is, there has to be a breaking point. And I think the vaccine's coming at a good time so that we can try to get some semblance of normalcy. So
the way the contagion or the spread works, and I'm not an epidemiologist or a virologist, but just when you think about it, the more cases of the virus you have in the general population, the more likely you are of being exposed to it, right? Because that would just make sense. If you've got, one person you know, per city block, and you're walking 10 city blocks to get someplace, chances are you might pass somebody that's got it, or if you had more than that. And so, the way I've heard Fauci, try to help explain this vaccine is that, yes, it's going to improve the chances of your surviving it if you do get COVID, or it's going to make the whole, a manifestation of the various symptoms, maybe lessen it. It won't last as long, won't be as dramatic, won't be as dangerous. You won't maybe end up in the hospital, but you still can be exposed to it, and it's not 100% successful. It's 94 or 95%, which is pretty high, but there still are those 5 in 100 that are going to get it. And as long as we're still walking around, this planet, our country, the city of Woburn, and we're bumping into people in the supermarket, we're passing by them at the post office, whatever, and a lot of those people still have COVID or carrying COVID. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can have the vaccine, but like you say, we're still going to have to undergo all of those precautions. And we're going to be, severely limited in how much we can really get back to a true normal environment, where we were mask free and didn't have to worry about some of this stuff. So I agree. From everything we're hearing, even after the whole state and the country's been vaccinated, there's going to be, we're still going to have to wear the masks, and it's going to shape how we do reopen, when it comes down to it.
Right. Yeah. And I think it goes back to, what when we talked earlier, what we wanted to talk about today is just, how are you handling it? What brought you to that decision to get it? And, what brought me to my decision to receive the vaccine. But, everyone's going to, right now, do what they want to do. And all I ask them, and I've said this to everyone, and I've said it to the groups calling out to people at the houses, or to the staff, is just make sure you do your research. Make sure that, you're not making a quick decision and, this time passes you by and you want to change that decision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's all I'm saying. And it is good news to hear, from what you heard from the Gillette Stadium vaccination program that is going on, and the ADDP call that we were on earlier today. It does sound like the vaccination phases are moving much faster, are starting to move much faster. And so now Baker earlier today was saying that, more money is being dedicated to, mass vaccination sites and stuff. Yeah. And so that's all good news. And so maybe you could change your mind and be able to get right into a slot. It's just our ability to help you do that might be a little bit more limited once we miss these first 2 rounds and opportunities. So
you've said twice today, gotta do your research. Mm-hmm. And I maybe I could just point out that may be a bit of a lofty goal for some of us. I mean, I can't remember the last time I did, academic research, in academic journals. Mm-hmm. But there are ways to get accurate information if you just look for it hard enough, or you can call your doctor. I mean, there's, it doesn't mean sitting down and reading through, all these scientific papers.
I
That's not what you're saying. You're saying make sure you're getting sources that go beyond just your stream in Facebook or Instagram or something that you're.
Yeah, that's it. I use the word research certainly loosely because, I've probably done more reading and research on, whether it's testing, vaccinations. I have, thank God, Sharon and her team, and a lot of smart people that work here that were able to read something and look at it a few different ways. But really what I meant in the research is, there's short videos out there from proven sources like we showed here, last week, and there's information on the CDC site that is basically a summary of bullet points. And again, we're not going to change people's mind because if someone tells you have to do something, just like you said, as Americans or as people, we get our guard up right away. But I think you'll see that some of the facts out there, certainly led me to believe that getting the vaccination was the right thing to do for myself.
Well, especially when you're comparing it against getting COVID and what the long-term side effects of COVID might be. COVID lung, you're hearing all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I'd roll the dice. I'd rather roll the dice with the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But from what you're saying, and just with an eye on the time in the last minute or so, Dan, I do feel like what I've been hearing from Karen and Sharon and others is that we do have a core group of staff, probably the ones that are watching this right now for the most part, that have been on the ball with this and with the surveillance testing. We had a board meeting on Tuesday night. We talked a little bit about that, what our ability was to manage something on such a large scale. And I think we've got a lot of staff that have been very cooperative and, making the right decisions. I'm saying that's the right decision is to get the vaccine. So thank you to all of our staff. Thank you for the staff that are watching that have indicated their willingness and that are being part of, being. I want to be that person that if the virus does come to me, it means a dead end. I don't want to be the person that's continuing to carry this thing of, blowing it all around. We got to get this thing behind us. So, anything else you want to say to people, Dan?
Yeah, I guess I certainly don't want to overlook some important facts about people who will get the virus. I mean, the vaccination tomorrow or the vaccination next Friday at the Martin Center. We will still be having to practice PPP and wear our mask and keep social distancing. And even once you receive the second dose, we will still continue to have to do that. And people will still, like I said, based on what the Board of Health recommendations are, have to quarantine during certain times. And I do think that, some people that maybe possibly have chosen not to get vaccinated at this time, and we do the weekly testing or biweekly testing where every staff has to be tested 2 times, and that's the max they're probably getting tested a month. But some of the residential staff are getting tested, weekly, if not biweekly. You know what I mean? To be able to stay at work, and some of the day service staff too as well. So I guess, you want to thank them, and just they continue to come in, get tested. Yeah. I'm at the Martin Center right now. People came in all day yesterday and the day before, the 2 days we ran the open testing, and we're still testing over 100 people, a week. And so, we're still having positives come in. We still have houses on quarantine. Mm-hmm. All of that is going on. Certainly our subject and a lot of discussions has switched to the vaccine, but all these other things are still happening.
So that's a good place to wrap this up. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, our staff are fantastic, and there's been great efforts. I hope that if you're somebody that has thought initially that you don't want it, maybe think again. Maybe you had some wrong information, that you already had COVID, so therefore you didn't need the vaccine. It's not true. So we want to get as many people, with their arms out next Friday as possible. And we will be finding people to take advantage of these vaccinations if we have staff that have said no. So, well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. To everybody out there, thanks for being a part of our NuPath Live. 30 minutes flies by when you're having fun. Join us next week, and we'll be sure to, well, I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but it'll be something that's current and something that's important to NuPath. So we got this, everybody. Be good. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, Dan.
Bye bye. Thanks.